Anticipate, don't improvise. My process is purely logistical, narrowly focused by design. I'm not here to take sides. It's not my place to formulate any opinion. No one who can afford me needs to waste time winning me to some cause. I serve no god or country. I fly no flag. If I'm effective, it's because of one simple fact. I don't give a fuck.
Welcome to Market Makers, everyone. Your home for tomorrow's TA today. I broke off the Bitcoin video. That's a separate video. So if you don't get both videos popping up in your feed, then check my page on YouTube and you'll see the other video. Be sure to like both videos so YouTube suggests the future videos. We're going to cover crypto in separate videos to make these videos shorter and faster so you guys can watch them quicker. This video is on the markets, primarily the S&P, NASDAQ. I have the international markets. I also added Palantir and Tesla for an update. Guys, what are we having right now in the market? Short-term tops are forming and then the blow-off top. How can we be confident about a blow-off top? Because the one big beautiful bill just passed the Congress. It increases the deficit, increases the debt, raises the debt ceiling. You will have the conditions for a blow-off top. It's just going to happen. The people who are panicins or crashikins who just keep talking about the crash, that's going to come, but not before the blow off top. When we look at the fear and greed index, we're in greed. We will end this market cycle, I believe, in extreme greed. We just came from a 4 in fear. Now we're in greed. Let's go ahead and move forward and look at this. So one thing I want to show you guys, New York FANG. This is my proxy for the Mag 7. New York FANG is an index. It is a Mag 7 plus Netflix plus Snowflake. And I forget the last one. It might be AMD. It's another chip company. So it's 10 stocks equally weighted. Look how beautiful this played out with the ABC. Right to the target, 13.7. Look where it's hung up right now on the ABC. Right at 13.7. Okay. I believe just like everything else, you're going to get a retracement, then you're going to come up and complete your W pattern, just like this, guys. If you only learn a few patterns in the market, learn the M pattern, learn the W fractal, and learn the ABC. And of course, I teach them all in my fractal education, so be sure to check that out at marketmakers.trade. You can learn the correct way to lay your fibs out because I haven't seen anybody on YouTube do these patterns correctly. So let's go ahead and look at this on ES. Here we are on a 3-day chart. As you can see, here's our W fractal we're looking at. We have our short-term top that we are forming right now, right? We got a rebound right now. Why do we have a rebound? If you guys follow me on X at Market Canary, I talked about this in my last video on Thursday. Market was selling off. Why? Because Trump suggested that we put 50% tariffs on the EU. Market sold off. And I said in my X post, watch Monday. They're going to come out with a delay on tariffs or some other good news, a trade deal. And guess what? That's exactly what happened. And now here in the futures market, a Memorial Day. By the way, happy Memorial Day, everybody. Be sure to say some kind words to anybody you know in the military. I myself am a military brat. My father was in the military. And the market's rebounding based off of now we have an extension with the EU for tariffs. So we're going to look at this in a zoomed in perspective. But guys, the blow off tops, how do we get to 7,000? How do we get to 7,500? But Brendan, you just don't understand tariffs, da-da-da-da-da. Nobody you listen to has actually read or researched any of the tariff information that's out there in the economic data. I have. I've gone back. I researched the Great Depression. I talked about this in length in my different videos. I talked about the tariffs in the 1920s. This is just an emotional reaction to what's happening. Most of this has just been negotiation points in the marketplace. But this is what I think is going to happen. We're going to get a retrace after our short-term top, right down to 5,500. or 5,400. I think it's going to be like 5,550 right there. Then we're going to base, guys. We're going to base, and then we're going to accelerate. Now that top for a big summer rally could happen here in the summer, or it could extend out into that late September into October timeframe. Remember in 2021, market, Bitcoin, that all topped in November 2021. The S&P ran until January. Depends how euphoric, how quickly these moves happen. But this is my base case. My blow off top target remains 7K. Why? Because of the ratios, 7K. Less bullish case, 6,500. Max bullish case, 7,501. Ratios in the marketplace, just like waves, are an expression of human emotion. This is why these targets get hit. I like to give you guys my realistic targets based on my market view of where this thing's going. And I think these are very realistic targets. Let's zoom in here on the ES. If we zoom in on the ES, I mean, I gave you guys this ABC pattern prior to getting to target. And what happened? We got right to the target, 59.59, 20 bucks or so above, retrace some, and now here in futures, we're trying to push back up. This is an 8-hour chart. Where's those retracement levels? 55.50, 54.12. What I think is going to happen is this move, your M top. You made this move down, you're gonna get this reflexive wave back up. Watch 59.59. If it fails again, you're going back down. This accomplishes a couple of things here on the chart. When we look at the chart, what does this accomplish? Here is your capitulation gap, 57.08. If you can take out 57.08, this is S&P futures. If you take out that 57.08, you're going to come down to the 382, the 0.5 fib, and it's going to be a shallow retracement. I know Wall Street with this TDS billionaires like Paul Tudor Jones or Steve Cohen are all talking about new lows. I played that video clip for you guys in the Thursday video with a lot of analysts saying, oh, we're going to new lows still. That's still the narrative. They're all wrong. Do you know what's going to happen? What's going to happen is when we make this M top retracement and we break down, come down to like 55.50 or down in this level, this is where the big dumb money is going to jump in the market because they missed a generational rally. If you missed the 10 best days in the market, the last 2 years in a row, the market returned north of 20%. If you missed the 10 best days, you had an aggregate return of 3%, and they all miss this. The geniuses on Wall Street that get invited on TV and invited on podcasts all miss this rally. If you watch this channel, you got the rally. Looking for this to fail up here, guys. And guess what? If you flip 59.59, right? We got to talk about that. If you flip it and start going sideways or propel upwards, what does that take you? 62.25, which is a new all-time high. That's not my base case. My base case is you're making an M top, you're rolling over, you're going to fill your capitulation gap, and then you're going to come down to one of these retracement levels, base, and then lift off summer rally. That's my base case. If we look at this as well, we have our Desmond volume delta, my custom indicator. I'm going to release this week, by the way, for everybody, guys, just so you can have it. But we can see the trend is also confirmed with volume. You can see the MFI, the money flow went bearish. It's starting to turn back up. I think it's going to be a weak turn up, and I think you're going to get this double top pattern form in the marketplace. Here is our lunar calendar here, or my lunar chart, I should say, for the S&P 500. And look at that. Remember today, which the market's closed, the cash market's closed today, but you have, look at this, right off the 200. This is your, when you're looking at these cycles, remember, you're looking for turns, right? So there's your full moon top. A couple days later, it rolled over. Same type of thing here. So let's see what happens Tuesday, Wednesday. But you can see it when you zoom in, right? I mean, look, without the fibs on here, you can see the pattern, and this is how you know if you're going to get a lower high and roll over, right? This is your trade here, and then your stop loss above the previous rally high, which was just under 6K, 59.92. Conversely, if you flip it, right, you pull up, you do something like this and break out, guys, I mean, again, 61.66 is your all-time high. You're on your way to make a new all-time high if that's the case, but I think you're going to pull back, roll down, fill your capitulation gap with the cycle, sell off for a couple of weeks at base, and then we're going to look at this thing, summer rally, and see when that top is going to be, okay? Let's go ahead and look at NQ. This is NASDAQ futures. Same concept. giant W fractal is forming. We're starting to hit our strong resistance. We're going to zoom in on the daily as well. There's your resistance point. Going to get that wave down, guys. 382, 19.6 or 19K is where this is going on the retracement. And then you're going to base. Big dumb money is going to tell you, I really like the economic outlook, Bob. There's a lot of money coming in this bill. M2 money supply is at an all-time high. I'm just kidding. They don't talk about M2 money supply because they don't even know what it is. Most of these guys are morons. And if you look at this, I think we're going to do this move, come down to these ratios. We're going to go sideways, and then we're going to explode up. On the NASDAQ, base case, 26K on the NASDAQ futures. Less bullish, 24K. Max bullish, 28K. These are my targets. Blow off top. Euphoric markets with record stimulus, record deficits outside of war, with the most debt ever compiled in the nation's history, will end in a blow off top. If we look at this again, 8-hour time frame, ABC, look how beautiful this played out. To target, got just above it, try to stay above it, rolled over. Draw trend line, guys. Bounced right off the trend line. If you open this up and zoom it in, same pattern, guys. Same pattern. Move up. Let's see if this fails. 21,522 is your key resistance point here. If you fail like this, you're going to come down, fill your capitulation gap, just like on the S&P ES futures here. You're going to fill that gap, 20,274. Ultimately, I think you'll be coming down to 19.6 or 19K. Those are the two downside targets. This looks like this move's going to start playing out this week, right? You're going to get this top here in the next few days for the second top of the M top. Then the thing's going to roll over. It's going to break your trend line, and you're going to come down and fill that gap. Let's look at Tesla. Let's look at a couple individual stocks. Tesla, as you guys know, if you follow me on X, on my X post, I've been talking about Tesla. I showed you where I was buying Tesla down here in the lows, right around the 220 level. Also traded the breakout on Tesla. Came right up to lower level target at 351 at the 50%. I want it to get to 383. Hey, and it's chopping sideways. Maybe it still does one more move there at the 383 and then rolls over. But guys, where do I think Tesla's going? When the tops are in for the markets and they start to roll, the individual stocks will roll too. Tesla, you want to see if you can hold 300 and 284, being that it is an individual stock and it has a lot of beta. 618 down here is 268, right? So you had this move come up. Let's see if it tops here, rolls down. Can it hold 284? Does it come down to 268? Ultimately, it's coming back up, making a new all-time high. Most of these Mag 7 stocks are going to look like that. Palantir. Here's our W fractal, beautiful hit at 130. Look at this. We talked about this previously on the channel. Came down. You have support down there at 117, 118. Ultimately, where's Palantir going? Look for Palantir to rebound back up, right? It's going to rebound back up just like the indices, make a little baby double top. If it starts breaking down here, you want to watch 107.75, $100, and if it went lower, $91, right? That's what you want to watch. Down in this range, and then Palantir will come up and make a new all-time high. These are opportunities for shorts. These are opportunities for accumulation. These are all things you should be thinking about. I want to pause real quick, guys. If you want to trade these markets and you live outside the US, please check out SimpleFX. Fantastic exchange. They're on my program. Those are a great group of guys. You'll love that platform. If you live outside the US, check it out. Get all the market makers bonus. And we have a special tournament coming up. Let's go international. DAX. Looking at the DAX, guys, beautiful ABC. Target is 24,363. We got within 150 points of it, right? This is a zoomed out view here on the DAX. Ultimately, this is on a daily chart. Ultimately, you're going to come up to this target. DAX is going to retrace. Current price is 24K. You're going to come down to 22,227 or 21.6 is where the DAX is going to go. And then the pattern is going to look like this. Move up, spring back down, boom, break out again, new all-time high. Okay, that's what the DAX is going to look like. If we look at this on our Desmond volume divergence, you can see the volume broke up out of our triangle. You got to take out this high in the volume to really keep moving this price up. If we zoom in here, let me look at this again. If we zoom in here on the daily, you can see that target is just above us. It's just above us. And of course, you have that nice gap right there, your breakaway gap at 21.6. Potentially that could get filled. Keep in mind, the DAX fell. The DAX fell with the U.S. markets, as did all the international markets, and then the DAX rallied up more than anything else, 27%. 27% rally, broke a bunch of records. I think after that, here you go. Here's the DAX on the daily chart. So DAX on the daily, there's your 24K, 350 to 24,500, let's call it. That's what I'm looking for the DAX at top. Roll down to these numbers, 22.2, 21.6. Fill this potential breakaway gap right here. Guys, keep in mind, when you hear these idiots on Bloomberg or on CNBC and they talk about, well, Bob, I like to diversify and look at the foreign markets. You even hear these guys on podcasts do that. Invest outside, invest internationally. The markets, they're cheaper. They're so much cheaper. We're in the top quintile of overvalued markets, which is absolutely true. And those markets are cheaper. Does it offer you any protection? What did the DAX do when the S&P fell? It fell almost 20%. What day did the DAX bottom? The exact same day as the S&P. Same with the FTSE. All the international markets will follow the U.S. markets, okay? If we look at the FTSE, bottomed right on April 7th, the exact same day as the S&P, followed the S&P down 15%. FTSE just broke a bunch of records, coming right back up. Look at our 1618 hit, 88.29. Caused this collapse, right? The calamity here of the 15% drop. Guess where your resistance is? Right there again, between 88.29 and 8900. All-time high up there. Can you do that move, or are you going to roll over? Base case is you're going to roll over. Watch the FTSE returning to 83.22, 81.71. These are FTSE futures. Let's do one more. ASX. This is the Australian market. Why? Because it's tracking so beautiful. Look at the symmetry here in the Australian market. We got right up to the 84.04, our 1618, got above it, couldn't stay above it. Tried it again, couldn't stay above it, and then we fell almost 17%. Now you're right back up to resistance again, right into the kill box, guys. 84.04 to 85.53. If you can stick your head in here and start doing this, this is going to roll over the ASX. Watch 79.62, 78.12. Those are my two primary targets. And just like all the other markets, including the US, then you're going to base, and then you're going to accelerate, and then you're going to blow off internationally, an international phenomenon, just like market makers. Be sure to like and subscribe, guys. Check out the Bitcoin video. It's coming out next.